And we're underway. Basic Forest.
Yeah, let's see what happens here. Jund. Every time I see that, I get a little salty. I don't even like to see it in Legacy here. It makes me upset.
Cavern on Goblin. I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's a pretty good choice. I mean, you can name Human and get that.
It appears that Mike is without a second land, and
he drew the lackey, a timely lackey. No, play the lackey. He has 2 ringleaders in his hand.
Well, I mean, he has a land-heavy hand. It's worth, possibly he can bait out removal this way, and he's not in a.
Hey, I think if Mike has a removal spell, he is definitely not going to hit that the 1/2 pile driver here. Probably wait till end of turn, I would think. You don't think you would play the lackey there?
I think I'm likely to. I don't think it's as necessarily as clear cut as just jamming the lackey into play.
Right, yeah. Whew. When I draw lackey, well, then again, I've never drawn a lackey before. If I were to hypothetically in an alternate universe draw a lackey, I would play it real quick.
So, Verdant Catacomb getting sacked. I'm assuming because we've shown a Wasteland here that maybe we're getting the basic swamp out of the deck. Mike's mana base is set up with a basic forest and a basic swamp, and he has Blood Moon as an option. Not that it would be here, but that's the way his mana base is constructed.
And Blood Moon is so good against everything. This is probably the worst deck to have Blood Moon against in the entire world. Obviously, being able to play a plethora of awesome cards here with just basic mountains. He's going to go get Bayou. Dangerous, but I think he's just. Well, Kenny's just.
Yeah.
Come on. I'm trying to.
He's assuming that this is an abrupt decay from Mike, which is almost certainly the case.
So I wonder why he wouldn't get basic swamp here. He said, "Hey, I got some punishment for you here."
And there's the lackey, which.
You're right. He abrupt decayed the 1/2, and the lackey came in, and boom. Again, I've been.
And now Mike's really going to be put to the test here to find a land.
Right. On the wrong side here. That lackey is going to put a hurting on Mike here if he does not draw a land.
Bayou. I also don't think that. It looks like Kenny's hand is just.
It's a ringleader, right?
And a wear tear and some lands, I think.
Oh, maybe I missaw.
And there's a Goyf.
I swear that's a ringleader.
I don't know.
It's a ringleader, yeah. If you can't see here, audience at home, I am zooming in my face as far as possible to see, and I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's a ringleader. It's a ringleader.
It's a ringleader?
I think so.
It's a wasteland. It has Cavern, Wasteland, Goblin, War Chief, and Wear Tear.
Man, you were probably right. I'm just gonna. Yeah, you're right. It's not a ringleader.
Another reason to value the lackey a little bit.
There we go.
A little bit lower.
Oh yeah.
No corresponding goblins.
Definitely made the right choice there then. Okay, so we have a War Chief though that was drawn.
Mike still pinned on his 1 land. He's got a Goyf back on D.
And we have Aether Vial crank into 2 here.
There's a Krenko.
Oh, look at what I just said there. How did that happen? Crank into 2 with Krenko here. Krenko is actually an interesting addition to the deck. We kind of mentioned it earlier. Much better legacy than it would be ever in standard. It has the ability to make an absurd amount of goblins, all which gain haste from the War Chief. Pretty sick interaction there.
Yeah. So, Krenko is a combo both with other goblins in your deck and having haste, which Goblin War Chief provides both parts of the puzzle there. So a nice little synergy that this deck picked up summer of last year.
Right, and I believe I think it replaced the Kiki Jiki aspect, because that was definitely a 1 of in the deck. Siege Gang Commander also is down to maybe a 1 of or 0 of.
0. So you see this play from Kenny, which I really liked last turn. Instead of just playing his War Chief with his 3 mana and potentially exposing it to a removal spell, he's trying to set up an Aether Vial plus Krenko turn that can be broken up by.
Oh, this is going to be a very nasty and a turn play, and little subtleties like that is going to be pretty much a winner here, especially when Mike's mulliganed down to 1 land, both lands wastelanded. He's pretty much down to hoping and prayer here. So he's going to untap, and we're going to see some fun things happen here. Little goblins everywhere.
And Krenko, and then Krenko has now haste because of the war chief.
He tells him to hold on a minute. I don't know.
I'm not a huge fan of passing the turn there. I think I probably would just use Kringo because the only thing that can really happen is now Mike has an opportunity to draw a kill spell, which causes you to make one less goblin. But
yeah, I like it main phase. There's no
we
reason.
are somewhat picking nits here as
There's definitely not a huge issue here. Life in the Loam. Man, that would have been pretty good a little while ago. Might be too slow here, but hey, now we got all the land we ever need. Does he have access? I don't see anything like Engineered Plague or
Pernicious Deed
or anything like that. And you know why? Because he is playing in a metagame where who plays goblins or merfolk? It's kind of like one of those more fringy tribal decks that Mike McKay is not really expecting to play a lot of. But when goblins was big, Engineered Plague was everywhere.
Yeah.
Even there's this, what was the White Wrath for 3 for goblins? I remember
Tividar's Crusade.
Tividar's Crusade. I remember that being played too. God, that was. Yeah, I'm an old man. Let's just move on here. All right, so we got goblins end of turn. 3 of them. We're gonna untap. We're gonna have more goblins.
Yep. Krenko is also a combo with himself because as he generates more goblins, then he generates more goblins. So
And he's
a lot of really subtle synergies in this goblin deck. that you
Yeah,
can
real subtle.
sink your teeth into.
All these creatures seem like they're meant to be together. They're almost Sliver-esque, if you will.
I was really hoping for a possible ringleader combo kill this turn. So we're going to activate Krenko again. Again, this makes a metric ton of goblins, such to the point that we have run out of goblin tokens, apparently.
Okay.
I expect the Knucklehead Brigade to be sent into the red zone here.
They are. If you want to have a good time reading some flavor text, goblin flavor text always the silliest there.
So
They're not the smartest creatures in the world. If you...
Sending in the Lackey plus the 9 tokens, Tarmogoyf will get in front of the Lackey. That's an 8 spot.
And drop him down to 11. And basically, Mike has a turn to kill that Krenko.
Yeah,
Or it will create a...
It's not easy for him to kill Krenko either. It's outside of Abrupt Decay range. It basically requires Lightning Bolt.
lightning bolt, yeah.
He only has 2 copies of in his list.
Luckily, he got all of his lands back. He has the fetch land, and he has the others. But even if he kills Krenko, he's facing down another army of attackers next turn. I mean, he's got to keep his fingers crossed that Kenny, who's drawn 3 land in a row, draws a 4th land in a row. Because any card Kenny draws, if his port is deadly, if it's Wasteland, it's real good. If it's anything but Aether Vial or Mountain fetch land, he's going to be made in the shade here. Or lock this up, rather.
Alright, so we see sacrificing of a...
We're going to see a red source here, I bet you.
Yeah, I have to assume that we would only be willing to take a point of damage here if we were getting something that could kill a Krenko.
Right, yeah. And does he have copies of Maelstrom Pulse?
I see 0 Maelstrom Pulses.
Alright, so we are bolting.
Yep.
I like to say we. I feel like we're part of the team here. We're trying to help both
I feel
players.
like we is anytime it's someone's player's turn or that person is taking an action.
Okay. I'm more of a companion of these guys, I think.
Contemporary.
Yeah, contemporary.
I'll use the word contemporary. A punishing an ancient grudge for the vial. That is a little late to the party.
That is not going to do it. Unless he has fog.
And then a lot of other fogs.
Yeah, just fog every turn. And you have a wasteland.
Krenko is now going to Krenko out.
Mike's just having a good time here. He's made the top 4 of this open.
9. I count. That's 11 goblins we're making here.
He wants to see more goblins in play before he says, I'm
so
done.
we need 11 more of those guys.
Come on, Star City. We have plenty of goblin tokens here. Beautiful Star City ones. I think those are... What are under those goblin tokens?
That's it. We're designating that there are 20 of them.
Oh, we have big dice here. There we go. Let's go ahead and flick the finger here. And that's going to be a picture flash taken.
Leaving 5 back on D just in case.
Fog. And nope, Fog's not happening. Handshake, game over. Goblins, Finals, Legacy Open.
Defeats Jund, obviously Mike. A terrible draw. And, a mixture of some of the more traditionally oriented goblins